What's good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to an episode of Pro and Bro Wrestling Podcast. We are your host. I'm Arnold Telegaarda.
And I'm Mr. No Days Off, Fred Rosser. And it's been a minute, Arnold. We took December off, I always say don't die with a story and you tell it. And our first guest of 2021 is I tell you all the time, anyone we have on the podcast is very near and dear to my heart. And I've got to represent Santino Brothers here in LA. I gained so much respect for our next guest because I remember traveling from LA to San Francisco, the Bay Area, to do a show. And our guest drove 6 hours there and 6 hours back. And normally I love to do all the driving, but our next guest, his work ethic, I told you before we had our guest on that his work ethic reminds me of Sean Bennett, WWE referee. He's making moves in WWE. And our next guest, Jeremy Marcus, is making moves with New Japan Pro Wrestling. Jeremy, thank you for being a guest on Pro and Bro Wrestling, where I always say don't die with the story and you tell it, brother.
Thanks for having me, Fred and Arnold. I'm happy to be here, and I'm honored to be the first guest of 2021. Happy New Year's, guys.
Happy New Year, man. How was your holidays, by the way? Did you have a good time off, or were you constantly working?
Unlike Fred, I'm not Mr. No Days Off. I'm Mr. Sometimes Take a Day Off. So
Me too, bro. Me too.
Jeremy, don't start with me, man. Don't start with me because you are a workaholic inside of the ring and outside of the ring. So you are Mr. No Days Off.
Thank you. I am a workaholic, but I did actually take a day off or two for the holidays and, spend it with my girlfriend. So we had some nice time to relax. So that was good. Yeah, it was much needed rest.
That's awesome, man. And where are you right now? Are you in the States?
In an undisclosed location in the New Japan LA dojo.
Well, before we get started with your career and everything, I always ask with this one question. Were you a fan of wrestling growing up?
Absolutely, of course. I started watching wrestling when I was really little. I have an older brother who's 5 years older than me, and he was a wrestling fan for a little bit. So I started watching wrestling when I was maybe 3.
Wow.
So I have really early memories of life, just renting videotapes at a video store across the street from my house, going with my brother across the street, see, Ultimate Warrior and The Undertaker. Those are my guys. So, any video that they were on the cover on, that was the one I was going to rent.
Those are Coliseum videos, right?
Oh yeah. The old Coliseum videos. Yeah, those are the best.
Oh man, I miss those days, man. Well, that's great. Were you like, I know you mentioned the Ultimate Warrior, but were you a big fan of like the big guys like Hulk Hogan, or who was your favorite wrestler at the time?
Probably, The Undertaker was always my favorite guy growing up. Just such a cool character and, just larger than life character and personality. So, I always rooted for The Undertaker, but Ultimate Warrior was up there too. And, Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon.
Absolutely.
As well.
It sounds like you grew up in my era, man. I feel like we're the same age because I'm right there with you. And it's crazy, right? Speaking of The Undertaker, there's this meme that I saw on Instagram of a little kid and his dad, and it's The Undertaker making his debut in Survivor Series 1990 and 2000. Well, like at that time when they thought Undertaker retired in 2017, it's like the grandpa, the dad, and now his son. And
wow.
I mean, 30-year career, man. That's insane.
Yeah.
Did you watch the Survivor Series this year when they gave him his kind of like farewell?
Yeah, I did, definitely. That was an end of an era and, just kind of like the last bit of my childhood right there,
Where did you grow up? Like what city did you live in?
I grew up in Culver City, California, which is just a city within Los Angeles County. Went to Culver City High School, and then I actually went to college at UCLA. So I'm very much an LA kid through and through.
Love it.
Wow, that's interesting. Why Santino Brothers? How did you discover Santino Brothers?
It was the luck of the draw. I Googled and Santino Bros came up, and I had messaged them. I sent them an email in like maybe it was April or so of 2013, and I said I was interested in reffing, but I wasn't totally sure if I was going to do it or not. And then I kind of waited a few months, and I was taking my CPA exams at the time. Ooh. So when I passed my final exam, I said, all right, it's now or never. Let's do it. I've got nothing holding me back. So that was in August of 2013. I
Wow.
found that email and I replied of like, all right, I'm ready to start. So they sent me the info and I came the first day, and it was, a day I'll never forget. I remember Tyler Bateman was there, uh,
Yes.
training with Ruby Reyes. Robbie Phoenix, was the trainer that day as well. And they just had
Was
me
Jake
going. And
there? Was Jake there or no?
no, this is before Jake had started training. Um, yeah, so I think Jake started maybe in 2015 or 16. I'm not sure. The years start to blend together.
Yes.
That's actually one of the questions that I wanted to ask. When you got into the wrestling business, did you know right away that you wanted to be a referee, or was being a wrestler the first choice?
That's a great question. I actually did come in wanting to be a referee. It's, I think, starting to become more common amongst people I talked to. When I first broke in, a lot of the refs, at least that I had talked to on the indie scene, said that they wanted to be wrestlers, and that
Yeah.
for whatever reason, they just couldn't cut it. They weren't athletic enough to do some of the moves, or they just didn't, they didn't like the bumps. But for me, I didn't want to take all the bumps and bruises that come along with being a wrestler. It's a tough life. I'm sure Fred can tell you it's not easy. So, I think reffing was more suitable for my skills.
I think that's a dream job for a lot of wrestling fans, because if you think about it, that's kind of like the smart move. You're not putting your body on the line, but at the same time, you get to be in the squared circle and you get to be backstage with all your like favorite wrestlers, the people you grew up with, and you get to like travel, but you have less injuries.
Yeah, although I will say, there's definitely still danger present.
Oh, for
I've
sure.
been injured in the ring while reffing. I've had concussions before.
Mhm.
It's very dangerous. Not that it's unsafe or anything like that, but it's a risky sport that we do. So even the ref can get hurt.
What was
Yeah.
your first injury?
It was a concussion. I was counting three, and a wrestler had thrown in a title belt, and it actually hit me in the back of the head.
Oh
And
no.
before I hit the three, and yeah, cut me open. I had four staples to close it. I remember it was TV, and I was wearing an earpiece, and I could just hear the producer saying, "Get up, ring the bell. Get up and ring the bell. Match is over." Oh, shoot, are you okay? I got up and I turned around, and there was somebody in the audience, and his face was just, he was mortified.
Wow.
I looked down and there was just blood gushing all over my shoulder. I was like, that's not good. So I think I raised their hand and just got out of there, went to the back. Adam Pierce was there, and he was super like fired up about it. And he was like, "Oh
Oh
man, let me
yeah.
take a picture. Let me take a picture. You're not gonna forget this day. This is awesome."
Well, I mean, Arnold, I'm very overprotective of my people that I surround myself. And I tell you what, if I would have been there, I would have been very upset, because I don't want someone like Jeremy getting hurt, because like I said, Jeremy's work ethic reminds me of Bennett, you know what I mean? That's why, traveling and stuff like that, if I were traveling on the road with any organization and Jeremy was on the roster, I'd want to travel with Jeremy. I wouldn't want to travel with any of the wrestlers. That's just how I am. When I was with WWE, I always traveled. Sometimes, if I didn't travel with Titus or Sheamus or Mark Henry or maybe some of the production people, I traveled by myself. So, I would have been fired up in a not so good way if I saw you all bloodied up.
Thank you.
You know,
Yeah, it was quite a day.
with Fred growing up, he looked up to wrestlers like Kurt Angle, trying to learn his craft and everything. With you wanting to become a referee, were you looking at guys like Earl Hebner and Mike Chioda and like watching and learning what they're doing and things like that, or were you just more focused on the entertainment as a whole itself?
I mean, growing up definitely was focused on the entertainment as a whole, but I'd say that Earl Hebner and Tim White were referees
Tim White.
that really stuck out. And then later on, Charles Robinson and Mike Chioda.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely study all those guys. And now that I'm with New Japan, I study Red Shuzano a lot, and Tiger Hattori and Marty Asami.
Yeah.
So those are our refs, and I like to see the differences in styles as
Sure.
well. So, but yeah, and I try to watch as many refs as I can. And now that I am a ref, I notice the ref every single time. And
Sure.
now I sometimes don't even watch the wrestlers during a match. Sometimes I'll just be watching the refs.
That's awesome, man. That's really cool.
Arnold, I was having a conversation with Jeremy. I asked Jeremy randomly. I've never requested a particular referee, but I asked Jeremy, have wrestlers ever like requested you as a referee because you're so good at what you do? And it's very important because I always got to bring it back to Bennett. When I first started, he started a couple of months before me. But when I first started, Bennett would always remember my spots because I couldn't remember my stuff in the ring. I would have brain farts, but Bennett was the closest to the action. So he would always say, if something looked good, he would tell you if it looked good. So referee is so important, especially with the up and down, with the excitement and the false finishes and stuff like that. The referee is a crucial part of the show, and
Yeah.
Jeremy's one of the best at what he does.
Thank you, Fred. Yeah, it's I appreciate you comparing me to Bennett. He's a friend of mine as well, and he obviously worked super hard to get in the position that he's in.
Well, both you guys are in your own lane. You're in your lane. Bennett's in his lane. Just like I've said on social media, Kenny Omega, he's making moves with Impact and AEW. If he comes to our show, New Japan Strong, I'm coming for him. So,
Yeah.
so he just needs to just stay in his own lane.
I think anyone that comes to New Japan Strong, you're going after. I know you.
You know me, Jeremy. You know me.
Jeremy, when you started training to be a ref, that first day when you entered the school, were you kind of like, okay, like I kind of got the gist of this. I knew it was gonna be like this, being a fan of the sport and everything. But were you like, whoa, like I had no idea this much work and so many little factor goes into it.
Yeah, I didn't know what to expect really. I didn't know if they were gonna break my arm or what.
Yeah.
That first day, try to scare me off, see if I'd come back, but I was just like a deer in the headlights. I was kind of soaking it all in and just like, wow, I can't believe this is happening. And to step foot into a wrestling ring
Yeah.
was just such a great feeling. It was like a dream come true already.
Yeah.
And then they told me to get in there and ref, and I said, "What are you talking about? Get in there and ref? I don't know how to do that." Everyone thinks it's as simple as just counting the three, but when there's wrestlers running around in there, and you got to get out of the way and
Sure.
start enforcing the rules, it's not easy.
Yeah. Did you have to do any of the drills that the wrestlers had to do, or
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So the way our class was structured was that Jason McCord was the ref who would train us for an hour at 9 a.m. and then at 10 a.m. the wrestlers would come in and we'd have like 2 or 3 hours of wrestling training.
Okay.
So learn to roll, learn to bump, hit the ropes, learn to wrestle. I probably stayed in wrestling class for like a year
Okay.
or so, maybe a year
Wow.
and a half, just to learn how to wrestle, just for fun and for the exercise.
Speaking of that, I saw a video of you wrestling Jake Atlas. You remember that at all?
I think we did. We wrestled around a little bit right before he got signed to WWE.
I saw that. I think what was it, like Santino Brothers like YouTube channel or something? But anyways, I saw it online and it was really cool because the point of view was from the ref. Like the guy holding the camera was the referee. So every time, like let's say Jake would get you in a headlock and he would talk to the camera as if like you're the ref. So seeing it from that perspective was mind blowing to me, which was really cool. And you're a great worker, man. You can definitely work. I loved it.
Brodie King always says of myself and of my fellow referee Nick Bonanno that we are a waste of talent, meaning that we could have been wrestlers if we wanted to be.
You talk, Jeremy, you talk about posting videos. You've been posting videos of you working out. How important is being in shape? How important is your mental and your physical health to you right now?
Very important, so important. I'd say maybe about 2 years ago, I decided to really start taking my workouts more seriously. I hired a trainer with a gym, Sweat 60, and would go there. In the pre-COVID days, I'd go there and work out all the time. Now, I'm fortunate that they're offering virtual training so that I can still work with the trainer who is taking the time to learn my body and can write exercises specifically for me. And then mentally, the same thing. You've really got to take care of yourself. And around the same time that I had physically started to train harder and take care of my body a lot more, I did the same thing with my mind. I went to therapy for a year just to kind of get things out, and just work through any issues that I had, or just to talk to someone, and helped a lot. I did coaching, just kind of to boost my confidence, and I'd say it all really worked. It helped me kind of gather my thoughts and remind myself of who I am, and really helped me with my self-esteem mentally. So that combined with working out physically, it makes you feel great. And
Yes.
and when you can push yourself to work out, even on those days where you really just don't want to do it, and you do it anyway, at the end of that workout, you just feel great. You feel like you've accomplished something. So that's what I love about it.
Good for you, man.
Oh,
I love
oh,
that. And
I'm so happy to hear that. So happy.
I love that, man. Mental health is super important. It's just
Yeah.
equally as important as your overall physical health. For your fitness journey, what's your goal? Do you want to kind of like get lean, or do you want to like bulk up, or do you just want to be healthy overall?
Um, that's a good question. I want to bulk up a little bit. I don't need to be as
Oh
big as
goodness,
Mr.
come
No Days
on.
Off. I don't need to
Listen,
be the
listen,
suntan
listen,
Superman
listen.
over there, but
Listen, don't use my lines. Don't use my catchphrases. This is a TRX body. I have not touched a weight since March of last year. It's been all TRX and kettlebell work and agility ladder stuff to make sure that I'm in the right place at the right time when I'm in the New Japan Pro Wrestling ring.
yeah, I can't touch your workouts, Fred. You are the king. You are the king.
No,
Man,
no, no, no. Jeremy, I always say anyone that works out with me, I'm looking to make you, not break you. So my workouts are very easy. I've trained people in their 60s all the way up until my two god babies that are 7 years old. So, like I said, I always say health is wealth. But I've got a question for you. How how has your family been supportive in your journey?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very lucky to have a supportive family. I've heard of people who don't have supportive support systems behind them when they enter wrestling, and I think it sucks. It's unfortunate. I'm really lucky that my family supported me. My mom, of course, she's a Jewish mother. She's worried sick the entire time. She's still worried sick. Um, you know, I posted that video of me benching 185 pounds, which was, a personal milestone for me because I've been afraid to bench press my whole life, really. So
Yes.
to actually bench press more than I weigh was a good accomplishment for me. And I told my mom about it, and I was super excited. And she said, "You're not supposed to bench press that much weight. You're gonna hurt yourself."
moms will be moms, though.
Yeah, and she's always worried, but she's so happy for me. And when I started working full time with New Japan, she was ecstatic.
Yeah,
She was almost in tears when I went home and told her the news.
that's amazing. And tell me more about that, man. How did your journey to New Japan come to be?
It started off just as ring crew. So in 2017, New Japan put on a G1 special in Long Beach, and I had hit up Rocky Romero, who I knew from Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, to do ring crew. And I also told him that I'm a ref, so I'll have my gear with me. And he said, that's fine, but we'll start with ring crew. So we did, and the very next show, they offered me a chance to ref. That was in March of 2018 for Strong Style Evolved,
Wow.
also in Long Beach. And I didn't screw up. So, they kept on giving me the opportunity to ref whenever they were running locally. And then eventually they brought me along on tours in the US. And then I came on full time January of last year.
Wow, congratulations,
Wow.
man.
Wow. January of last year. Well, Jeremy, I don't know if you remember this flyer. Do you remember this flyer?
I do. And
Uh, what's that?
no, go ahead.
Yeah, it was Lance Hoyt that gave me this flyer September of last year, and I always save it because he gave me this flyer September, and then you guys were running in November. The show started at 7 p.m. I showed up like 5 p.m. because still 18 plus years in the business. I wanted to feel the ring. I wanted to be able to meet the wrestlers. I wanted to be able to sit there as a fan. And that same question was running in my head. Do I fit in? Do I belong here? Do I belong here? And after it was all said and done, and I watched the show, I said to myself, "Man, I can hang with these guys," you know. So it was Rocky Romero that gave me the opportunity. He said, in a couple of months, I'll have you come down to the dojo and try out. Because I told him I'll do whatever it takes. I'll try out. I tried out with WWE in September 4th, 2009. Out of 75 guys and girls from all over the world, I earned my tryout. So I'm not unfamiliar with tryouts, but fast forward to when the pandemic hit, and Rocky reached out to me when the pandemic was running wild, and I had to check with my family because I needed their blessing for me to do these New Japan shows. And my family blessed me, and the rest was history. So I owe it to not only Lance Hoyt, but Rocky Romero for just giving me the opportunity. And I was going to do one or two things. I was going to either shit the bed or I was going to have some really dope matches. And I'm still on cloud nine. So I can only imagine how you feel still.
Yeah, I'm so grateful to be working here. And I remember seeing you backstage. I was going to say, I remember seeing you backstage at that show.
Bro, I was so nervous. I'm always nervous. Jeremy, because I text you and I'll text you. I said, what do you call Shibata? Because I don't want to be disrespectful. You said Shibata-san. I said, okay, because Arnold, I go to Jeremy for everything. Like if I'm struggling with something or if I don't know something, I always go to him. So I was a nervous wreck being backstage. I remember Kota Ibushi. He was back. Like I didn't think he knew who I was. I still didn't think he knew who I was. But he was very, very nice to me. And then a lot of the wrestlers were nice. But I was a nervous wreck. But I can't believe you remember me being back there.
Absolutely, I do. I don't remember if that happened before our road trip or after.
After.
It was
Oh
after.
no, 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 no. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It was
Before.
before, right? Because then after you had said that your goal was to go to Japan. And
Yes.
100%, I think it's going to happen. I don't know when with all the COVID stuff going crazy, but as soon as that's done, I think you're going to be there. And hopefully I'll be there with you.
Yeah.
Oh God, I just got chills. Hand to God, I just got chills all down. It's something I think about daily because a lot of my family, they're very happy for me, but I've said it. I've said it on social media because I get tired of like fans always asking me, "You should try AEW. You should try WWE again." I've done WWE. I'm very happy with what I did with them. AEW, I tried not once but twice, and they said no. So it's almost like I got to keep it moving. You know what I mean? And thankfully, Rocky gave me an opportunity, and like I said, I'm still on cloud nine, and you and I are in the same position of hopefully going to Japan. We just got to keep speaking it into existence.
Absolutely.
Jeremy, a lot of wrestlers are mentally getting affected with this whole no crowd situation. It's a different energy. It took a while for all of them to get adjusted to it. How has it been for you in the ring when there's no live audience to play with?
It Definitely, like you said, people are getting adjusted to it. They had to get used to it. That was the same with me. I mean, I train. I guess when there wasn't COVID, I'd be training a lot at Santino's, and there's no crowd there,
Yeah.
so you're wrestling in front of silence a lot of the times, or people are talking over their practice matches.
Mhm.
Um, so it's similar, but it's also different because now the cameras are on, and now you're going live. So
Yeah.
it's just it took some getting used to, I'd say, at first, just because you can really hear yourself a lot more.
Hmm.
But after a while, it's just the same thing, I guess. There's not the same adrenaline rush, I guess, that you get in
Sure.
front of a live crowd. There's not that
Yeah.
same energy that's there, but my job is the same.
Right.
So
And I bet it's gonna be another adjustment when the crowd comes back too, right? And everyone's gonna be like, "Whoa, it's a
yeah.
lot of noise here. I can't hear myself." Is there a certain wrestler that you enjoyed working with in New Japan? Like, oh, I love refereeing his matches.
Fred, he keeps me on my toes. He does not stop moving forward. So the first time I refed him, I think it was a tag team match. It was maybe a 3-on-3 or a 4-on-4, and I had turned around for a second to try to keep someone from getting into the ring, and I turned back around, and Fred's got a pinfall. I immediately had to drop it. I was like, "Oh man, I missed this pin." Yeah, Fred, another guy that comes to mind would be Brodie King, just because
Yes.
he actually came up through Santino's with me, and he always jokes that I'm always there for a lot of his big moments in his career, but likewise, he's helped me throughout my career so much, just getting booked around and stuff. So it's pretty cool to still be able to work with him. And then, trying just to control the Bullet Club, do my best. Doesn't always happen, but I do my best.
What has been your most memorable memory in the ring, good or bad?
Ooh, that's a tough question. Um, you know, I would say bad. We kind of covered it already. That'd probably be my concussion.
Mhm.
Um, just because that was such like it happened when I was less than a year into reffing, so I didn't even know if I'd continue reffing after that or not.
Right.
But I'd say the best, most memorable one, it would probably be reffing for New Japan for the very first time at that Strong Style Evolved show, because I wasn't booked to start the day, but I had my gear. The old adage is always bring your gear. So I had my gear in my car, and they came up to me and said, "Hey, we're going to give you the first match."
Wow.
Okay. So when we got my gear, and there were probably 3,000 people there, and at that time I'd reffed in front of maybe a few hundred people at the most.
Wow.
So that was like a huge moment for me, and yeah, and none of my friends, I didn't know it was going to happen. None of my friends knew it was going to happen.
Wow.
So for them, a lot of them reached out to me and showed support. And same thing, being in the Tokyo Dome for the first time,
Yeah.
another just standing in the ring, just looking around and seeing how enormous it is. That's obviously the most packed show I've ever done. So it was just amazing. It was awesome.
Jeremy, time is money, and you've been an amazing guest, first guest of 2021. And with every guest, I like to just hit them with 21 totally random questions, whatever comes to your mind. And then, it's time to take it home, baby. Are
All
you ready to
right.
play?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. What's your favorite thing in your closet right
Um, it's probably this jacket because I've been wearing it nonstop.
now? When things break, do you prefer to fix it or replace it?
Replace it.
What job would you be absolutely horrible
There's a lot of them. Where do I even start? Going back to the fixing thing, I'd say construction worker because I'm terrible at fixing things.
Yes. What's your favorite movie ever?
Oh, what's a good one? I'd say probably Super Bad.
That's funny. That's a good one.
What's the most disturbing thing you've ever witnessed?
A broken leg during a wrestling match.
Oh goodness.
Yeah,
Who's
snapped.
oh
Yeah,
God. Who
yeah.
whose leg can you say or no?
Sure. I mean, it was a Marco stunt at a GCW show in LA, and he had just
Mm,
landed off of a Canadian destroyer onto some stairs, I think, and his leg hit the stairs and broke, and
mm.
yeah, stopped the match, and it was just bad all around.
If you had the world's attention for 30 seconds, what would you say?
I would say to be kind to each other, to love one another. Don't hate, don't spread hate, spread love.
Don't spread hate, spread love, block the hate, right?
Yep, block the hate. There you go.
What's your biggest pet peeve?
uh, when people don't reply all to an email.
Oh, oh. Uh,
There's an accounting answer for you.
I get it. I get it. What makes you anxious?
um, I don't know. A lot of things. Trying to find an answer to this question. I don't know.
Everything makes me anxious, man. You know that.
Yeah.
What's the stupidest thing you've ever done because someone's dared you to?
um, First thing that comes to mind would be shotgunning a beer.
What's your favorite swear word?
Are you gonna bleep it out?
No.
No, we don't. No, we don't bleep it
Absolutely
out.
not.
Okay, I'll do one in Hebrew. How about that?
Oh,
Oh, that's
Benzona.
sweet.
cool.
Benzona.
Hmm. Can you translate
Oh,
that?
Look that one up.
Okay. Okay. We'll
we
do
have
it.
to look that up. What is one food you could never give up?
Steak.
Steak.
Yeah, I love
If
it.
you could have three people over, dead or alive, who would they be?
Man. Adam Sandler, George Carlin, and one other person. We're talking about the Undertaker. Why not have the Undertaker there too?
Yeah. What's the worst backhanded compliment you've ever been given?
um,
Mine
you're
was
pretty
in.
good for a ref.
Oh,
That's a weird one.
oh. Mine was in the South, wrestling in the deep South. Oh, he ain't so bad after all. Well, what is that supposed to mean? Because I'm gay, I'm not so bad after all. Like that's the worst backhanded compliment I've ever been given. Um, if you could be a member of any TV sitcom, what would it be?
Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Hmm. Who was your first celebrity crush?
Amanda Bynes. The
And
Amanda Show. Yeah.
all that too.
What's something you've tried that you'll never try again?
Unagi.
Unagi.
Yeah.
Unagi.
It's
Uh, what was your first job?
I worked at the Coffee Bean as a barista.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is there an app that you hate but you use anyway?
Facebook.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Uh, is there a personality trait you can't stand?
I'd say just over arrogance.
Yeah.
People that are just overly arrogant.
Yeah. Best gift ever received.
Um, I'll go with the one my girlfriend just gave me, a pair of socks with her cute dog face on them. I love them. Love that dog.
Awesome. What product would you seriously stockpile if you found out that they weren't going to sell it anymore?
Probably wouldn't be toilet paper. Um, you know, probably be steak because can't live without it.
Yeah, and speaking about toilet paper, I'm currently working with a deal with the bidet company, Bio Bidet, because I always say my social media is an open diary to the world. So anything I ever post always comes from the heart, and social media is like a second job. So you need to get yourself a bidet, man. I know they're big in
Yeah.
Japan.
Yeah. My roommate tried to install a bidet on his toilet, ended up breaking the toilet, and our landlord had to replace the toilet. So,
Oh, yeah, the sizes are different. They ask you if your toilet is a circle or like a oval, and mine is an oval. So, but yeah, it's a great investment. So I'm trying to work out a paid deal, if you know what I mean.
yeah.
But Jeremy, this was an amazing podcast. First episode for us. Again, doing the podcast for me is like therapy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I get to do it with my real life neighbor Arnold, and having you on so last minute, and it means the world to me. And I hope, knock on wood, I keep speaking it into existence that we can get out to Japan and do our thing. So again,
Absolutely.
thank you. Again, thank you for being a guest.
Thank you for having me, both of you.
Another fun interview, Jeremy Marcus. Again, it's really cool to have all sorts of people in the wrestling business in this podcast, from wrestlers behind the scenes to referees. They all play a major factor to the show. And it was great learning about his career and his upbringing.
Wrestlers, referees, production, and like I said, anyone we have on is very near and dear to my heart. I say the same thing all the time because I mean it. So Jeremy's a hard worker, man, and not only in the ring but outside of the ring. Like I said earlier, 6 hours to San Francisco, 6 hours back to LA. Like that's tough. A lot of people can't do that, man. I can, and he's the only one that has done it. Like people take breaks. I
Yeah.
said, Jeremy, if you get tired, I can drive. I like
Right.
driving. Oh no,
Right.
I got it. And he was just like,
Wow.
he was 9-3 the entire time, eyes wide, no swerving. That's why I said this guy is money. Yeah, he's doing his thing, and I pray that I can travel to Japan with him, or travel within the states. When the time comes, because he's a great traveling partner.
Yeah. I feel it. I feel like it's gonna happen at the end of this year. I feel like when the world gets back to normal, hopefully. Wishful thinking.
You're a psychic, right? You're a
I,
psychic
I
to
love
begin with.
that.
So you said the end of this year. I hope, man. The only thing I can do is keep getting in my workouts, stay on top of my social media, keep grinding away like I was doing when the pandemic hit.
Yep.
I had my best success when it came to a lot of my ambassadorships last year. So I
Yeah.
want to keep the ball. I want to keep the ball rolling on that. So yeah, 2021 is in full effect. We took a little break, but
Wow.
what's the latest news, man? You got any news for me?
Well, I feel like it's only right that we touch on Brodie Lee because we didn't get to talk about that when it all happened. I was in my in-laws' house having a little like family gathering, and my best friend who's a big wrestling fan as well texted me saying like Brodie Lee passed away, and it took me about a few seconds to adjust to what was going on because it's one thing for me to hear when legends pass away, but for someone who's an active member of the roster, someone who's close to our age.
41.
Yeah,
41,
41,
man.
man. It hits different. And I was in shock. I was like, wait, what? And it's totally out of the blue too. I had no idea that he was sick. He kept it under wraps. And that just goes to show how much people love him and respect him because like things get leaked all the time, right? Like here and like it's almost impossible to keep something under wraps. But for him to have his circle of people to keep that information to themselves and not let it out to the public like that, it just goes to show what kind of man and human being he is and how much he's loved and adored, man.
You said it perfectly, Arnold. I still can't get over it. It still bothers me because, again, you said it perfectly. It hits differently. Uh, it hits the younger generation, like the Shield, the Wyatts, primetime players. It hits all of us. It hits all of us, top to bottom, but especially our generation. And he's one of my favorite. And I said it before, and I'll say it after. It was Cesaro and Brodie Lee that I enjoyed being in the ring with, because we would kiss and hug backstage, but when we were in the ring, there was a lot of resistance, good resistance, you know. I needed to work. You know, when you get a chance, check out my highlight, my 2020 highlight that I actually created on my
I
own.
saw it.
A lot of my primetime live stuff I did and my New Japan stuff I did. You know, I'm very aggressive, man. I'm like, it's night and day with me. Very, very aggressive. But I'm a teddy bear outside of the ring. And Brodie Lee was a teddy bear outside of the ring, but he was vicious in the ring, man. When we were wrestling in the South, I enjoyed wrestling in the South because his presence, you know, like he looks mean and nasty and gritty, but he never hurt me, man. And when I talk about resistance, you know, like if someone's going to bring me to the buckle, I'm not going to make it easy, you know? I'm not going to make it easy. I'm going to shove your hand off. I'm going to be like, get off of me, you know? And then you have to run me into the buckle. There was always resistance with Cesaro. There was always resistance with Brodie Lee, man. So um, when I found out about that, I went, I don't know why I went on the IG Live, but I went on the IG Live for like 10 minutes and I said maybe 5 words, man. I was crying my eyes out. I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it. I just wanted to go on IG Live and let people know how I was feeling, because, you know, it hit us very hard, man. It hit us very hard.
What was your relationship like with him outside of the ring? Were you guys close friends, or were you guys just
Well, not close friends, but, you know, anytime we were on tour, we always hung out with one another, sat next to each other, maybe on the bus, the tour bus. Always smiles backstage,
Yeah.
always smiles. He was always kind to my guests anytime I brought them backstage. He was just an incredible human being, man. And I can't say enough great things about him, man. He will truly be missed. And when he passed away, the only thing I could think about was his kids, man. His
Yeah.
kids, his wife, his kids, his wife. But I'm so happy with what AEW did. I'm happy with what all the organizations did. You know, say what you want about WWE, but AEW really put together an incredible package, and to give Brodie Lee Jr. The TNT Championship, and just to take care of him. And Brodie Lee Jr. seemed to be doing well, man. I'm like, man, like I would have been. I don't know, but he's got so much support around him that that he's going to be good. He's going to be good, and we'll look on this podcast 10 years from now, and who knows? I could wrestle him. You know, anyone could wrestle him, but he's definitely going to have a story to tell when he gets older.
Absolutely, man. And it gave me the chills because when it happened, I listened to All Elite Wrestling's podcast, Unrestricted Weekly. And when he passed away, Tony Schiavone, they decided to replay an old episode where they had Brodie Lee as a guest. And so I got to listen to the whole episode, and you just get to see how cool he was, you know, how funny he was, how charming he was as a person. And he was just like a sweet man. And, you know, the jokes that he would crack. And I love his banter with Tony, the back and forth. And Tony Schiavone said that after that interview was over, I think maybe Brodie just randomly texted someone. I don't know if it's Cody or not, but he just texted someone saying like, "Hey man, like Tony is a true gem. Like he's a true gem in this like wrestling industry. He's a legend, and like he's just great, and like I can talk wrestling with him all day." And Tony like just thought that was very big of him to say after like the podcast, you know. But it's just so surreal, like just because when he did that interview, it was only probably like a few days before that he found out that he was sick. So it's just really sad how things can change in drop of a dime, you know? Like he sounded fine. He was all good then, and then a few days later, or like maybe a week later, they found out that there was like something wrong with him. But it's hard, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, and sharing the ring with him, it was Eric Rowan and Luke Harper. Anytime we would plan some stuff, or I'd always pair it with Brodie Lee, Luke Harper, because both guys are smooth, but he was a joy to be in the ring with. Eric Rowan, he's a guy that body slammed me so hard that I shorted my pants in the baby blue tights on live TV. But Brodie Lee, he was an absolute joy to be in the ring with, man.
That's awesome. Well, he's resting in paradise right now, and like you said, his family's in good hands. And you're right, AEW did a great job paying homage to him, and he will be missed. But it's not goodbye. It's see you later for all those that knew him. But it's kind of hard to transition from that. But as we transition to the other wrestling news, a lot of people are pissed. A lot of people are pissed that Goldberg is back. Did you see this?
Yeah, Goldberg. Do they really need him back? I don't understand. Why?
I'm all about positivity, and I just love wrestling overall, but it gets to the point where it's kind of like he's starting to be that uncle that shows up like uninvited, like at a party, because like someone mentioned this already. Like,
what do you have uncles like that?
no, I'm just saying like in general, like so hopefully someone can relate to that. Yeah. But I saw this comment on like a wrestling channel. I don't know if it was like Wrestling Hub or something like that, but Goldberg cut a promo to Drew McIntyre saying like, oh, Drew, you're a perfect champion. You got the size, you got your strength, speed, but one thing you don't have is respect. You don't respect the legends, and you don't respect me. And everyone was like, wait, what? Like, when did that happen? When has he ever, like, which Raw did we miss out on? Like, that's never been the case. So like that's already a botch right there. Like, for him to say that in a promo, it's kind of like, what? No, this is a story. Like, I mean, this is a feud out of nothing, like literally out of nothing. He's just like reaching for something right now. And I just thought that was a really, really like bad execution, man. Like I don't mind a Goldberg and Drew McIntyre match, like fine, like great, but like for him to say that, it's kind of like it justifies why he shouldn't be there, basically, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting. And is this going to happen at the Royal Rumble or?
Yeah, Royal Rumble.
Oh man, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I hope it's not a quick one, man.
He can't win. I don't think he'll win. I think it's just another.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I hope it's just another name that Drew overcomes. Like a lot. Like I hope Goldberg is just like it's gonna be added to Drew McIntyre's list of victims, because it just doesn't make sense. Like at this point, it's like wow, like man, like he came back. He beat The Fiend. He's the first guy to beat The Fiend. When Kevin Owens had a great run as the longest reigning Universal Champion at the time, he came back and he beat Kevin Owens in like 5 seconds. Like, I just don't get the logic of him doing that again and just like pissing a lot of people off.
Mark it down. He's gonna beat Drew.
Damn.
He's gonna beat Drew. But you know what? Before I lose my train of thought, a match I really want to see that would be very interesting is Goldberg versus Randy Orton. Has that ever happened?
They touched for sure, but I don't think it's been a one-on-one.
Yeah, I'd love to see that, because Randy is someone that I've done a few interviews recently, and people have quoted me. Some have quoted me accurately, and some have quoted me by saying that I want to be the Black Randy Orton. Yeah, well, when I do these interviews and I say that 18 plus years in the business, there are people that I study and there are people that I grab stuff from. And Tom Hanks said it the best: "You're dope if you don't steal from the greats." And when I am wrestling, I envision myself being the Black Randy Orton, meaning I don't do his moves. You watch my highlights, I don't do any of his moves. It's the in between stuff, the in between stuff that means the most to me. That timing is so important to me. If you have good timing in the ring, man, I, I'll work you every day if I can.
Yeah.
And people that I steal from right now that I watch, Randy Orton and the Great Muta. Can you believe that? Two people, the
Wow.
Great Muta and Randy Orton are two people that I watch still to this day. Uh, and as crazy as it sounds, I wrestle myself. When no one's around, I wrestle myself. And
I get
that
that.
and that's how I earned 2020 Match of the Year for New Japan Pro Wrestling. You know what I mean?
I mean,
So because I'm a maniac when it comes to storytelling and doing what's best for a show. You know what I mean?
mhm.
And AEW denied me not, and I love saying it. AEW not denied me not once but twice, but they weren't my all-in goal. New Japan Pro Wrestling was my all-in goal, and that's why I won 2020 Wrestler of the Year. That's one of my biggest milestones
Oh
that
yeah.
I'll my chest will be out because I worked hard for it, man, and
Yeah,
you
you
know
did.
me.
Yeah,
You know me better
absolutely.
than anyone. I worked hard to get that notoriety. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
I just gotta keep pushing forward. And you're only as good as your last match. We're
Yeah.
in 2021 now. So I gotta keep pushing forward and get another Match of the Year.
Absolutely, man. Gotta the grind don't stop, right?
Yes, the grind don't stop. It's a rolling, not a stopwatch. This grind don't never stop, baby.
And I find it really cool that, obviously this has happened a lot of times before, but A-list, like mainstream celebrities are getting involved with the pro wrestling world. Um, I know people they're going to talk about Snoop Dogg, doing that splash on AEW. And I heard WWE was pissed about that, by the way, that like Snoop's in AEW. But I just think it's cool. Like now that AEW's on TNT, Cody has all these like connections with Shaq. Now he's in a storyline with Shaq. Like what? That's amazing, man. And another thing that's starting to happen for WWE, they're teasing possibly maybe a WrestleMania thing or like a like Royal Rumble thing. But Cardi B and Lacey Evans going back and forth. Like like it's cool,
Wow.
man. That's cool stuff.
Yeah.
That's more eyes on the
I
product.
like that. I like that. I like Cardi B and Lacey Evans. I think, man, that is money, money, money
Yep.
because Lacey Evans is great, man. Not
Yeah.
only is she great in the ring, but she's just a great person outside of the ring. Here
Yes.
is a superstar who says that she would rather sleep in her car than get a hotel room for 4 hours. And I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Titus would sometimes he'd get hotel rooms for just 4 hours. I'm like, oh my goodness, let's just sit at the airport or let's just sit in a car. We get a room for, granted, it would be either free or it would be like $50, but
Yeah.
that grind, sleeping in a car, like no shame in my game. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
4 hours to be in a hotel room. Come on.
Yeah.
But I love I love her grind inside of the ring and outside of the ring. And that's something I would definitely pay for.
Absolutely. Me too, man. Me too. And I think it's another cool concept that Roman Reigns, he finally kind of explains why he wears the gold glove. You caught that too? We
Yeah.
had the Golden Boy in this podcast, and he talked about like the Midas touch being his finishing move, and that's exactly what Roman Reigns had in mind. That's the reason why he has the gold gloves, because everything he touched turns into greatness. And I thought that was
Yes.
such deep symbolism, and it just that's dope when wrestlers like think like that. It's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And before I forget, did I ever tell you this story about Snoop Dogg when he was at a Raw?
Yeah.
When you like he was like
Oh, I
smoking
told you.
weed backstage, and then like, yeah. But go ahead, you can tell it, man.
I forget how it went, but me and Titus were walking towards Snoop's locker room. I'm like, why are we going, Titus? And then we go in, like, again, Titus, he just barges in. it's just lit. I got a kayfabe, but it is just lit. And and then I have the the vaporizer, and and then I said, "Hey Snoop, I got my stuff here," and he's like, "Man, I do the real stuff, man. Here, have some." And then I did a few tokes, and Titus didn't do any. And then after we were done chit chat, and we walked out, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Like I had to like run to the locker room and spray myself down and avoid anyone,
Yeah.
any production people. But I was a nervous wreck back then and now, So that was a fun moment. That was a fun moment.
Yeah, I'm sure, man. So the whole storyline with the Fiend and Randy Orton, that was a cool cinematic match, kind of, right? Like when the Fiend got burned alive. So what do you think?
Yeah,
What do you
yeah.
think they're gonna do with that? Do you think the Fiend's gonna come back with a different look, or do you think it's gonna be a completely different character, or do you think he's just gonna come back as is and get his revenge?
I mean, anything can happen, man. Who knows? Who knows? That's kind of like open ended, man. Anything can happen. He can come back with a new look. He can come back with, his brother. Bo Dallas. I mean,
Oh
who knows?
yeah.
I mean, who knows, man? Who knows what can happen?
I think it should definitely be a new look. I think he should still be the Fiend and not a new character because I think that character has longevity, like the character Kane.
Mm,
You know what I mean? And
mm.
Mankind. But I think it'll be cool if just comes back with a new look because look how Kane evolved, right? Like he changed his look, but he's still Kane. So, and again, he'll be super toyetic, right? With all the merch. Now they got all this new like stuff to like push with all his new look, with all the action figures and mask and things like that. So I think that would be the right call.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, it's true, man.
But it's funny when I stress, my sadness for Brodie Lee. Um, Randy Orton had DM'd me with his number saying, I mean, if you need me, here's my number. And I was like, man, but I already had his number from years ago.
Yeah,
I think he had got my number from he had got my number from Titus, and then I just saved it. For
yeah.
some reason, I used to have Vince McMahon's number, but I don't think I saved it properly.
Oh no.
I didn't save it because I had it for when I came out. When I came out in 2013, he immediately someone set to call Vince McMahon and they gave me his number and then I called them, but for some reason I didn't save it, man. If I would have saved it, I have Triple H's number, but I don't have Vince's number. But for Randy to do that, man, I mean, that's why I talk so highly of him,
Yeah.
because he's a really cool dude, man. He's a really cool dude. So talking about that match with the Fiend, that just popped up in my head for him to be so kind to do that.
Sure, of course. How was it calling Vince, man? Did he pick up right away, or like, was he like, "Hey,
I
Fred"?
mean, this was 20. I mean, let me tell you, this was 2013, obviously. But we talked for 20 minutes, and we talked about how Pat Patterson, rest in peace, another passing. He talked about how Pat Patterson is gay and is one of his closest friends and right hand man, and he respect my decision to come out. I mean, it genuinely sounded like a really cool conversation, just like how you met him, Vince McMahon.
Right.
He was really cool, but it was different when Triple H called me. I do have his number, Triple H. It was different when he called me because for maybe 5 or 10 minutes, maybe less, it was like, Darren, you know, you know, we here at WWE, we respect your decision to come out, and that's how it was. That's how it was. So you remember these conversations, man, and you're
Yeah.
like, wasn't cool. It wasn't cool. I mean, it was like he was forced, like he was on the phone and was like, you better do this. You better do this because it's good for the company. And then he's like, all right, Darren, and he's like looking at the, you know what I mean? So like it wasn't natural. He's got to work on his people skills.
Well, man, listen, 2021 is here. It's gonna be an exciting year for Pro and Bro Wrestling. We have, I'm looking forward to more interviews with amazing people. I'm looking forward to the year of wrestling that's coming ahead. I'm looking forward to the all the accomplishments you're gonna achieve this year. It's gonna be a fun, great year, and I'm here for it, man. I'm here for the ride.
Japan, Japan, Japan. That's all I keep thinking about. People ask me WWE, AEW. Nope, nope, nope,
Yeah.
nope. Now, I mean, I'm not signed to any company now. I'm a free agent. If WWE were to call me back, I would have to really, really, really think about it.
Mm-hmm.
But my goal is New Japan.
Yeah, I hear
My
you.
goal is New Japan, and I'm starting my own fire on social media by calling out Kenny Omega. Not necessarily calling him out because he doesn't know me, but I know him,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm very happy with all the moves he's making with Impact and AEW. I just hope he stays in his own lane because if he comes to my show, New Japan Strong, I'm coming for him.
There you go. You heard it here, man.
Simple as that. I'm coming
Yeah.
for him.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe it. I believe it. Well, thank you guys so much for listening to another amazing, fun podcast. Make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel at Pro and Bro Wrestling. If you guys like the video, make sure you guys give it a thumbs up. Leave us a comment on the comment section below to let us know what we can do better. And if you're listening to us on iTunes, give us a 5-star rating and write us a review as well.
Block the hate, salute the great. Episode 65 is a wrap.